Dr. Cheryl, and welcome to Wake Up with Dr. Cheryl, Wealth Transformation. Our show is raising the awareness and consciousness in the relationship with wealth and unconditional love. Always remember that your present situation is not your final destination. The best is yet to come, by Zig Ziglar. Our show this evening is about the wealth of happiness with Edwin Edebiri. Edwin holds an MBA with honors from Embry-Riddle Aeronautics University in Daytona Beach and an author of multiple books. Edwin serves on the board of various profit and nonprofit organizations. Edebiri has interviewed more than 1,000 people on the subject of happiness. Based on his answers, he's come up with a list of 10 concrete things people can do to become happier and how to set happiness as a default position. He is the inspiration behind the Global Happiness Summit and the founder of the I Am Happy Project, now in 64 cities in 19 countries, whose mission is to spread happiness globally on one person at a time. He is the founder of Happy Neighborhood Project. Edwin was recognized along with his project at the United Nations for his role in global happiness. Welcome, Edwin.
Thank you very much.
We finally got a time where you could come.
Yes.
I know it's been a little bit of a challenge for you to come here,
Absolutely.
but you're here.
And I'm so thankful for your persistency.
I
love
well,
it.
that
Thank
I
you.
do.
I appreciate that.
Oh, certainly. I already gave the viewers your bio,
Okay.
so I don't need to. But however, I would love to hear from you where you're from in Africa,
Okay.
correct?
Yes.
You know, tell us where you're from and how you got here.
All right. Now, whenever I'm asked that, I usually tell people my accent is from New York. And some cases they buy it, but some
I don't think so.
and then, that's when I know whether they are paying attention or they are not paying attention. You know?
Yes.
Yeah. But I was born
It's a
and
good
raised.
test.
Yeah, it is. I was born and raised in Nigeria.
In Nigeria.
Yeah,
okay.
in Nigeria, in a town called Benin, and a very historical part of Nigeria.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I first, when I left Nigeria, I went to Europe. I did some schooling in Europe. I was in Amsterdam, in Belgium, and a few other countries
Yeah.
before I came to the U.S.
Yeah.
back in about 1980.
Oh, okay. So quite a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But I promised my grandma, though, I will not lose my accent. So far, I'm keeping my promise.
yes, you definitely haven't, and you're not a New Yorker.
No.
So how did you get on this happiness trail?
Yeah, it's been very exciting for me because back in 2009, I didn't even really know there was recession going on. But I noticed that folks who were really excited before that I know, and they were just down. And Sacramento was hit very hard. I think they were rated like the second most foreclosed home in the country.
Oh.
So there was a lot of stories of people losing
Right,
their homes
right.
and people losing their jobs.
Yeah.
Even those that have not lost their job, they were just scared because somehow they feel like they might be next.
Right.
So I do a lot of meditating. And so one day I came out of my meditation feeling very excited. I was really excited. I mean, I'm always happy, but that day was even more happy. I didn't know why. So I drove to Barnes & Noble bookstore in Chico, in California. And as I went in, they have a Starbucks on the right-hand side. So I moved there to drop my stuff, my computer and bag. As I was doing that, I heard a couple having a very intense altercation. So you would have thought inside the Barnes & Nobles, you would have thought they were in their living room.
Oh my!
And everybody in the Starbucks were like trying to mind their business.
Yeah, right.
You know, so I told myself, you know what, Edwin, you better mind your business too. But the moment I uttered that statement to myself, I went into a zombie state. I walked straight to the couple.
Oh yeah.
I asked them, hey, can I ask you a quick question? And they look at me like, don't you know what's going on or something?
We're having a fight.
Exactly. I was like, I didn't know. I wasn't paying attention to that. But so the guy go ahead. I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you right now? Now, you could have had a pin
negative
drop.
10?
Man, you could have had a pin drop in Starbucks. It was so
So
quiet. And it seemed like it took forever. But they finally came back with a number, and she did. And I got excited. I went back to my table.
So that was like your first time?
Very first experience
wow.
of doing anything about happiness, yeah. And so that after that experience, I went back into my car and I started to process it. I'm like, wow, this is what I was so happy about today, because their whole attitude have changed from just at each other's throat to smiling at each other, and everybody in Starbucks were clapping. I was like, this is
Ooh.
pretty cool. So that's from there
Well,
on. I
yeah,
was
that
doing
would
yeah.
give you the energy and the impetus to like expand that.
Yeah.
I mean, that was you were listening to your intuition
Absolutely.
to intervene.
Yeah.
And did they leave with smiles
They
on their
did,
face?
yeah. They gave me a hug. They gave each other a hug.
Because they were being silly.
Well, it wasn't just silly. They were taking out stuff they both didn't have any control over on each other.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, the economy is bad. Something is wrong.
Yeah.
But being at each
stress.
other's throat is not going to make
No.
it any better.
No.
So that was what happened.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's a wonderful story.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So tell us how you can actually get, I'm asking for the viewers,
Yes.
because, just being happy
Yeah.
isn't always easy.
No.
So can you kind of give an example or to share on
Yeah.
how and what you do to like shift your consciousness, your
Yeah.
emotions and so forth
Sure.
to be happy?
Yeah, I think the first thing, and this is something I'm really, truly wanting to pioneer, is the happiness as a skill. And the moment that people can realize that you can move it from this emotional stuff, which, yes, it is an emotion, into a skill, then it becomes a lot easier than this nebulous stuff we cannot put our hands on.
So how does it be a skill?
So for example, and this is not just from me, a lot of folks who have spent time on happiness stuff say, hey, maintain a gratitude journal.
Yes, yes.
And that's not a rocket scientist work,
No.
It's just a very simple stuff. It's not different than a coach, a basketball coach saying, have a good posture, or have whatever people who play basketball do.
Yeah.
There's just the simplest form of what you need to do to become good at where you want to go.
Right.
And so once we start to take it, I go to middle schools and high schools and I teach happiness. At first they crack up, how do you teach happiness and stuff like that. But then when I start to break it down, what they need to do, and they figure out how simple it is, they get excited. They call me, Mr. E, you want me to tell you what I'm thankful for today? I say, yes, I can't wait, And they're already excited, and they carry that home. The parents start to practice it. At first, they kind of don't know where it's coming from.
And it is contagious.
It is, absolutely. So just being grateful. Now, I know when I first started this whole happiness stuff, people used to look at me weird. Some people tease me, and some people make fun of me. But it didn't matter, because I was just happy. And none of those going to take away from what I was doing. Yeah. So you have to understand that if it's a skill, it's manageable. You can deal with it. You can learn some very basic stuff. So for me, I started to practice. And people say practice makes perfect. I don't believe that. No. Because practice makes improvement.
Right.
And so what I tell people is start from the most simplest form, like just maintaining a gratitude journal. And it doesn't have to be fancy. You don't have to go buy a journal book. You don't have to use an app, which we have an app, but you don't have to. Take a piece of paper and just write it down, put it somewhere where you can see it again, and things like that.
Well, I must share with you, I do the Deepak Chopra and Oprah 21 meditation. They do it 4 times a year. And I've been doing it for 4 years. And I used to have a gratitude journal, and I haven't done it for a long time. But in the last few months, I've been having a lot of stress come at me, a lot of different things from the outside. So 2 days ago,
You started
I
it?
started
Hey,
my
it
journal
works,
again.
it works, it works, it works.
I focus on 5
Yeah,
things, and
yeah.
if I think of more, then I do.
Yeah.
You know,
It's-
like
it's so
I'm grateful
simple.
for my friends.
Yes.
And there's one in the audience
Yes,
today.
yes, yes, absolutely.
But you know,
Yeah, and that's another thing. When I first tell people about gratitude journal, they start thinking about the biggest thing. And so they are blank. It's like, I don't have nothing to be thankful for. I say, yeah, because you are thinking about winning a lottery. So until you win a lottery, you don't have nothing to be thankful for.
be grateful that you can breathe and that you can laugh.
Yeah, absolutely. The simplest thing. The fact
That
that
you're
you
healthy.
press the key opener to your car and it opens. I mean, for real, what if it didn't open? What happened to that 30 minutes appointment you're supposed to be at? It's messed up. But we take those things for granted because they are the simple, everyday thing
And
that we
those are
do.
the things you really need to be grateful
And that's
for.
all that really matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're saying be grateful for the small things,
Mhm.
and that will like be the foundation of being happy. Is that what
Well,
you're
it's
saying?
one of the foundation.
okay.
Yeah, one of the other thing that I do. And if I'm not feeling the way I'm supposed to be, I just say, okay, go on either my phone or Google, and I'll find an organization that needs help. I like to volunteer.
Yeah.
Because one of the things volunteering does, it allows you to forget about you for a second.
Absolutely.
And so whatever the problem you're dealing with, it can hold. It can wait for a minute, okay? Let me go serve somebody else. And in the process of doing that, you realize maybe your problem was not that big a deal in the first place. Because the truth about it, most of the things that consume us are not really that big a deal. There are exceptions to the case, but the majority everyday thing that we sweat is not really that big a deal. And so when I go out and volunteer, for that moment, I forget about it. And when I come back out, sometimes I don't even remember, what it was. So I'll just let it be. And then I just continue with myself, yeah.
I feel that way about doing art as well.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, you got to find the thing that you are passionate about.
Yeah,
And
but
being of
helping
self is
people is
yeah.
like the best.
Yeah, yeah,
Definitely.
yeah. And then another thing that I do that's just crazy,
Oh.
and it's something that anybody can do, is if I'm getting in a mood where, okay, things ain't going well, I just find a little corner where I don't bother anybody, and I just start laughing. I mean, I just laugh, I laugh until tears are coming out of my eyes, and then I'm ready to go again.
So tell me, how do you start laughing?
I think of something that I did that somebody laughed at before, or maybe sometime where I screwed up really bad and I couldn't just contain myself. I was really laughing, or find somebody who was laughing at something. Again, it goes back to practice. Because if you practice enough, then it becomes easier. I can tell you, the first time I tried just laughing, it didn't work. Because I'm like, what kind of nonsense is this? This is not going to cover what you're trying to deal with. Just deal with what you're trying to deal with.
Because it needs to come authentically.
Yeah. And so with practice, you start to realize your brain doesn't know the difference. Whether you're making up the laughter or a serious reason, or somebody is cracking a joke, or you're making it, the brain doesn't tell. It's still going to secrete endorphin. And the moment it does, you're going to feel better.
And then, of course, it releases endorphins.
Yeah, it does.
And
And,
that's what keeps us calm.
so my stress is gone. And so, again, with practice, and that's something, maybe I learned this from working with kids. Like I go to middle school and high school, and they understand practice. Because some of the kids used to carry basketball with them every time to the class, or football, whatever their favorite sport was. They understand in order for them to be good in that sport, they got to practice. They understand that. So all I'm doing is taking that understanding and putting it on happiness.
On happiness.
And they get
on
it.
laughing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not, I mean, it's natural to laugh.
Yeah.
But to laugh spontaneously, you have to trigger it.
You have to trigger it. And one of the things, some people will say, well, I like to go to comedy show and then I'll laugh. in my thing is, now you are giving permission to other people. So if the guy is not funny, what do? You don't laugh.
Right.
Then if he's funny only twice, then you laugh only 2 times, you know? And again, you have to remove the responsibility for your own happiness from somebody else's hand.
That is a key thing. Can you say that again?
Yeah, you have to take the responsibility for your own happiness from somebody else's hand. You have to hold that. That's your responsibility.
Yeah, and I also say, giving, don't let other people's opinions influence you on how you feel about yourself.
No, you can.
So
You
it's the
just
same
can.
thing.
Absolutely.
It's the same principle.
Absolutely, yeah. And again, I have to say this though, because since 2009 now, I would say I've been really focused 100% on the subject of happiness. And there are certain things now we might take for granted about happiness, that, oh, it's easy, everybody should do it. But the truth is, it's not. So if anybody in your audience are listening to this and say, oh yeah, that's good for him, he can do that, and they may be right. But they just need to understand that it took some time to get here.
Right.
And if they apply the basics, they too can reach that level. And there is no way they cannot. So
can you share some of the basics again? Just because I think that people need to really understand the foundation of being able to be spontaneously happy and laughing.
Yeah, so the first is gratitude. And again, I'm not talking about the big things, because the big things doesn't happen often enough. So if you depend on them, then you're going to not be happy a lot of time.
Depressed in between.
Which is what people are. And so no, you got to really get down to the little things.
Yeah, and I think in our society here, we're too focused on success, big success.
Yes.
And it takes baby steps anyway to be successful, and no matter who you are or what you're doing,
all the time.
It takes one step at a time. And how fast or how large, that's up to the person, but you've got to do one step at a time.
It never fails. And so when people ask me, I say I do one day at a time, just one day at a time. I have a saying. I said, do not allow the past or the future to rob you of the present. Because when I see people, they're so focused on the past, they don't even know when the present passed. And it's like you just vanish. Or they're so worried about the future, they don't even know when the present passed. And there was a guy one day who was so worried about his retirement. I said, at the rate you're going right now, you don't have to worry about retirement because you won't make it. And he cracked up. But it's true. He was going to either get a heart attack or get a stroke or just die. And then what happened to retirement? You don't have to worry about it. I said, so why don't you just focus on today? Just be the best you can today, laugh enough today, and then let tomorrow take care of itself. Yeah.
We need to be reminded of that a lot.
Yes.
Especially with what's going on today in our society. I don't really want to talk about politics, but it's affecting people. I see it every day. I see how people are fearful.
Yes.
And so when I can make a joke or make somebody laugh, like, I come in contact with people every day, sometimes 30 to 50 people, and when I can make them laugh, then I feel good.
It's a mission accomplished. Yeah, and this is what everybody have to be. So a lady sent me an email. Her name is Gwendolyn. I want to give her credit for it, So
what's her name?
Gwendolyn.
Gwendolyn.
Yeah. So she sent me an email, and it was an article about depression. And as I'm reading it, and I'm thinking, wow, how come I'm so happy and people are so depressed? And it talks about 322 million people around the world are depressed, about 16 million in the US are depressed, and I think about 25% of women between 25 and 45. I mean, the statistic was just dismal.
Oh.
And so as I processed that, I said, what can I do? And this is another rule about happiness. And especially in those cases where things really happen that are real, not the things that we make big a deal. Yeah. And I'm talking about the loss of a loved one, the things that really matters. In the case of that, you have to, first of all, feel all the emotion that is involved. That's part of life, you know?
Yeah.
And then you have to shift your energy into something that could be able to help you sustain yourself. Otherwise, you're going to get caught in that situation. And so I'm reading this article and I'm finding myself just getting dragged into it. And I'm like, wow, this is not right. How can this many people be depressed? So I have this whole practice I've done. I think I shared it on my TEDx video, where I have a 3-minute rule. Where when something bad happens, I set my alarm for 3 minutes. And I feel bad,
So
I
you
cry, I do whatever I
indulge
need to do,
yourself
just give myself
for 3
permission
minutes.
to do whatever I need to do, and cry, do whatever. And then when the alarm goes off, I got to figure out a way to shift my energy. Now, if you are listening to this in the audience, it doesn't have to be 3 minutes for you. It could be 3 hours. It could be 3 days. It
of
could be
course.
3 weeks. Just don't let it be too long, okay?
Yeah.
But whatever you do with practice, you get better. And so I've got in mind to 3 minutes. And people who don't understand will say, oh, that's not human, that's not natural. But it's just like how Kobe Bryant shoot basketball.
But you've refined, you've worked at it for a long time.
Every day, every
yeah,
day.
Yeah.
And so this was happening this weekend, and my alarm came up, I shift my energy, and I'm like, okay, what can I do about this situation? So, and I posed that. That's what my grandma taught me a long time ago. She passed away at the age of 102. So she said,
102?
102, yeah. She said, ask the right question, be patient, and the answer would come. So I always try to phrase my situation in a question form. So I did. And by Sunday, the answer has came. And I want to start, as part of the Happy Neighborhood Project, I want to do a program now I call Reach Out. Because a lot of the things they say that people could prevent for depression is the moment they start getting in that depression, they start alienating themselves from people and just start coming in until they're just in the world by themselves. So I say, okay, how could we prevent that? Well, I'm going to program in our app where people can subscribe anonymously, those who need people to reach out to them. And then there are going to be folks who can also subscribe who want to make time to reach out to people.
Right.
And so sometimes you can just look at the app or even the website and just call somebody and say, hey, my name is so-and-so, I'm with Happy Neighborhood Project, and I just want to reach out to you.
Yeah.
How are you doing today? What are your plans for the evening or the weekend or whatever it is? And if there's any sense of stuff, then we're going to look at expert people being as a background to be able to take over from that. So that's what are the things I recommend. If things are not going well and you're feeling bad, instead of just letting it hold you down, shift your energy and find the kind of solution you can as much as you can.
Now, one thing that I know for myself, and I think this applies to everybody, but I'm not a psychologist.
I'm not either.
However, I think it's important for people to feel the pain.
Yes, absolutely.
So you can let go of it.
Yeah.
So you can be free of it.
Yeah.
And there's so many people that are just carrying around pain.
Yes.
And that blocks them from being happy.
Absolutely.
So it's so important, your 3-minute thing or 3 hour or whatever, 3 days.
Or whatever the time frame.
I couldn't do more than 3 days, I'll tell you. There's no way that I could do that. I'm not made that way. I have to be,
you
too much
happy.
energy, So whatever it takes,
And just know with practice, you're going to do better. And just to add to what you just said, sometimes people misunderstand this whole happiness stuff. They think, oh, you can't be happy 24/7, you can't be happy all the time. And that is true. But also in pain is part of life. I think when you can experience pain, when you can experience sadness, when you can experience all form of emotions, it makes happiness even that much exciting. So it's not in spite of.
It's the other side of all those emotions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you allow yourself to feel the pain, the anxiety, or the frustration, or whatever the emotion is, anger, then on the other side of it, when you get through it, then you can be.
You can be happy, exactly. Yeah. And to say that you won't feel all those emotions, then that's like you're not human anymore. If somebody surprises you and you don't surprise, it's like, okay, what kind of thing is that? You go through all of the emotion. Don't drag it out. I have met a lot of people, and I'm the first to say, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a counselor, I'm just a happy guy, okay? But one of the things that I've learned, and I've talked to a lot of people, between 2009 and 2010, I interviewed over 1,000 people on the subject of happiness. Yeah, and so when you talk to that many people about one subject, you start to know a few things about it.
Yes, I think so.
Okay, I've sat on the corner of the street with homeless people for like 2 hours, just trying to get into their head and understand how they get there. I've been on the golf course, with some of the rich people.
Happy?
Oh yes. Oh my goodness, you will be surprised. You will be surprised. I mean, and that's a lot of this sometimes. Again, I don't want to downplay the difficulty of being homeless, okay,
No.
and they need help and everything like that. But there are some people that actually make a decision to be there because any other place was just very difficult for them to handle. And whether it's temporarily or it became a long term, that's a whole different story.
Right.
But no, I met some homeless people that were very happy. I met some that were very bitter. Just like I meet some very rich folks in a golf course that are happy and some very bitter. So there is no cross section about it. Yeah.
But what is one of the main threads that happiness that people in all your 1,000 or more people that you've talked to about happiness, what is like the same thread that through all those people? Is there one?
Yes, there is. I would say the biggest would be service to others.
Service?
Service to others, yeah.
To others.
Volunteers, yeah.
Oh, yeah, to make
that
you,
is the biggest.
To feel the happiness is when you give to others.
Give to others, yeah.
Absolutely.
That would be the biggest thread that I see among all of the people I've talked to, yeah. And there's, there's very seldom that I come across someone who say they're really, really happy and have not found a way to serve other people. I've not seen it.
Yeah.
And so when people say, "Oh, I'm too busy, I don't have time," and there was a guy I was speaking at an event, and so he came to me. He said, "Well, I heard all the stuff you were saying. That's so simple for you to be saying. You don't understand my situation." So in my mind, I was like, "Okay, I want to understand your situation. I don't, And he said, "Well, I don't really have the time. I do this and I do that."
He doesn't have time to be happy?
Well, that's what we came up to, exactly. That's what we came up to. But he was saying he didn't have time to volunteer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that's actually what he came to, because when he gave me all the laundry list of why he was so busy and he didn't have time to volunteer and he didn't even have time to maintain a gratitude journal, everything I talk about, he didn't have time for. And then when he got to a point, I just told him time out. And he was shocked. I said, "Yeah, time out." I said, "Guess what? You have 24 hours, just like I have 24 hours. You have 168 hours, just like I have 168 hours. You have 720 hours, just like I have 720 hours. If you can find 5 hours out of 720 to be of service to somebody else, then you have a problem. You need to go figure out what that problem is, and don't tell me you are busy. Busy is not it. It's time management is your problem. Go seek help with time management. And so sometimes I get to that level, and just to wake somebody up that you are giving too many excuses for not being happy.
And that's the truth.
And you need to stop it. Yeah.
And sometimes the truth does hurt, but
it does.
in the long run, it's going to come out anyway. So you might as well be honest.
True.
No matter what. It's how you say it.
Yeah. Well, as Chief Happiness Officer, I can get away with a lot of stuff because they usually come to me and I take permission from them. Okay, hey, I'll ask, do I have permission to really tell it like it is? And they say, sure. Although they don't know what they are saying yes to, but they say yes. And I think because I spoke to so many people, yes, I'm sensitive, I'm compassionate, but I also have to wake you up if you're just in a deep sleep.
That's why my show is called Wake Up.
You have to wake up. Yeah, you have to. Yeah. We live in a beautiful country, regardless of what's going on right now. We really do. When you look at living in America and you compare to any other country, we have so many things we just take for granted.
I know.
We do.
I know. And I'm guilty of it.
Yeah.
but I'm looking at where we live, and I'm grateful.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But
With all the greens and the whole beautiful thing.
paradise.
Yeah, it is.
This is one of the paradises.
Yeah, you know how many people save for the whole of their life to try to make a trip one time to come here. I spoke to a group of business owners, and one of the guys was priding himself of working 16-hour day and 18-hour day. He is sleeping. He has been operating on 2 or 3 hour sleep, which is another thing that I really talk about. You want to be happy? Get enough sleep. Okay,
Yeah.
give your brain time to clean up all those trash
That's
is
right.
built up so that you are feeling lighter. So as I'm talking to this group, so we end up forming like a round circle, and one by one they're shooting questions at me, and a guy told me, and he said, well, I just don't have time. For 5 years I have not traveled. And I said, why? He said, well, I don't have money. Things are too expensive these days. I said, give me a break. I said, what do you mean? You live in Northern California and you cannot travel? You can get into your car and drive to any tourist center within an hour drive. That people save money from different countries to come to.
Putting it in perspective, that's what you just did.
It is.
Yeah.
You know, I said, unless you have a whole different thing of what vacation is, what if you live, go to Shasta, go to this, go to that, and you can Google any of these places. Some of them are just within an hour drive of you. And you're telling me you don't have enough money for gas to do that? And you say, no, I have gas money. Okay, can you spend, even if you don't have money for a hotel, there are places you can camp. And I'm very serious about this because sometimes we are looking at things that is not there. And so how could you say you've not taken a vacation for 5 years? And you're working yourself to a point where one day you just fall down and people say, what happened to him? Well, because he hasn't given himself any break for that length of time. So get into your car and drive somewhere.
A daycation.
A daycation, exactly. Or homecation, just somewhere. But that's part of the beauty that we have living in California, period. Because there are people who spend their life savings to come to one of these places, and they can talk about it for the rest of their life. And we live next to it. I mean, look at the beautiful Golden Gate Park, just right here. In short, tomorrow morning, I'm going to be driving to Point Reyes, just to chill for a little bit. It's not that complicated.
No, it isn't. Yeah. And people make it complicated. Yeah. And paying attention to the small things.
Yeah. True.
Oh my. So what other wonderful little golden nuggets can you share about being happy?
I say that, one of the things I've learned, I have 10 ways to be happy. And which was a result of talking to about 1,000 people. And my publisher was like, you got to write a book. I said, I don't even know what I'm doing. So what am I going to write a book about? He said, well, you've talked to so many people. You've had so many experiences.
You don't know what you're doing. Oh, my goodness.
First of all, I've written 3 books.
Yeah,
I know the amount of work it takes to write a book.
It takes a lot of discipline.
Exactly. And so I didn't want to slow down yet for that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of things are just happening organically. Yeah. And I just want them to take their turn, just to grow on their own. And so when the right time is, I will probably do that.
Of course. So
I wrote down the 10 ways to be happy. One of the things is list out the things that make you unhappy. Unhappy. Yeah. Because we have the right as human beings to be unhappy.
Yeah.
So list those things down. And then what start to happen is take them one by one and start finding out, do I have any control over this thing? If it is no, then learn to deal with it. If you have control over it, then set steps in place to do something about it.
Take action.
Yeah. And so what I find out when I do that exercise, I quickly eliminate things that I truly don't have any control over. Yes, that doesn't change it. You can still feel bad, but you will not feel as bad about it.
Right.
it allows you room to deal with the things you can change.
Well, and it's also being able to detach.
Yeah.
You know, when it's like if it's out of your control, it's like, oh, move away, move on, you know, because you can't change it.
Yeah, you can.
And it's acceptance.
Yes, yes.
That's a big thing.
It is huge. Oh, yeah, it is huge. It is huge. But the truth about it, there's no way we can live happily in this world without accepting certain things.
Yeah.
There's just no way.
Yeah.
There's too many
and
things.
being human.
Yeah.
There's so many things we need to accept because everybody's different.
Yes.
And we we don't always accept the differences.
Right, exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's important.
Yeah, and
It
I think
is
that is
important.
playing out a lot right now. You know, it's playing out right now. I have people that just call me and just want to talk and say, Edwin, you can't believe this. I say, what now? And you say, well, I've been friends with this person forever, and they just unfriend me, you know?
Yeah.
And they cannot believe it. You know, I'm like, I say, well, this is one of those things you may have to accept, you know?
Yeah.
You know, because it's
Yeah.
tough, but all of a sudden, the level of tolerance have just gone into the toilet. And that is very sad,
Yeah.
because when it's all said and done, we are still human, we still need each other,
Yes.
we're social beings, and we got to find a way to really deal with ourselves.
Well, I always feel too that when you decide to let a friend go or someone associate go, there's always someone else that comes in.
That is the truth. Yeah.
And not that I would set out to let go of somebody, you know, unless it's not healthy.
Healthy, yeah.
If it's not healthy, then I because I've had
And
to
you
let
should.
go
Oh, yeah.
lifelong friends
Yeah.
because it wasn't healthy.
Yeah.
But there's always somebody that comes, you know, that's more on your level
Yeah.
or whatever. Or
Yeah.
you don't have to let go of them completely because maybe
Exactly.
they'll come back.
Yeah.
You know, I
Yeah.
mean,
And also, too, it's just like the gentleman when he said it. I said, one thing you have to understand with friendship, it never really go away.
yeah.
It just
Yeah.
never
It
really
just
go away.
changes.
It changes, exactly.
you know,
And
just
you
like-
should allow that. I think I read sometime, really long time ago, they said as you progress in life, only two things change: the people you hang with and the type of book you read. You know, you start to change your preference. And one of the things that I've really learned in
Our bodies change.
that too. Yeah, that definitely do change. But it's experience that you gotta understand that change and accept it.
And again, it's accepting,
Yeah.
you know. And why people resist?
It's fear.
Fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's mostly fear.
Yeah.
And they
Ego.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It still boils down to fear. I tell people, if you know, my grandma used to say that a life that is lived in fear is a life that is half lived.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
and so you have a choice: is it fear or is it faith? Yeah,
And that's why spirituality is so important. And I'm not saying religion, but spirituality
Yes.
is the same as faith.
absolutely.
You know, because when you have that to fall back on inside, it's easy to be happy.
Yeah, it is
I
very
mean,
easy.
I should say it's easier.
Easier, right.
It's easier to be happy because I don't want to make it sound like it's too easy.
No,
But you know, like you said, it's a skill you have to work on.
and I say this.
And I'm
though.
going to work on it some more.
Hey, I mean, you're doing a wonderful job already, though. You're doing a wonderful job. I just want to let your audience know as they listen to this, there is help. If you are not happy and you want to be happy and you can't do it by yourself, ask for help.
Yeah.
They really do. And the help is not
It's
like
help.
it's just
Help.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just help. You know, it's just to get you started. It's to give you a jump start.
Yeah.
And once you get on the right track, yeah, you can fly again on your own, you know. But don't let ego get in the way that, oh, I'm going to do it myself. There might be stuff you cannot do yourself, and you just get help.
Yeah, because we're all human beings.
Yeah.
And we all need help
Absolutely.
at one point in our life, depending on what's going on.
Or depending on where you're trying to aspire to.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And, you know, life is short.
Very short.
So be happy.
Hey, I
As
tried
Bobby
to be.
McFerrin
I
says.
tried to be unhappy one time. I didn't like it.
I don't like it either.
And I say, okay, I ain't going there
Like I
anymore.
said, the 3 minutes, if it's, forget the 3 days,
Yeah.
it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But one thing that I do is like when something happens that affects me emotionally, if I feel depression, I let myself feel it when I and then you know what?
Please do. Yeah.
It diffuses
Very quickly.
because I'm aware that I feel sad. I've had a lot of things going on in my life right now, and I realize that I've been emotional because I'm getting it from different things, and it's unfair behavior from the outside. Right. And I won't talk about it directly yet, but it's like I feel violated. I feel like crying. I've allowed myself to do
cry.
that.
Absolutely.
I allow myself because if I stuff it in, I know it's still going to be there, so I might as well let it out when I feel it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
When it's when I can crawl in a corner.
And the good thing about that is when you let it out, you have control. If you boggle it in, when it decides to come out, you may have no control.
Yeah, right.
And that is not good.
I had a minister say to me one time, and I love this, is that when you cry, when human beings do need to cry because it's part of our existence, our being a human
and it's good
being.
for your eyes.
Well, and it also cleanses your soul.
Yeah. It does.
It cleanses your soul, because we're all, if we could live in that pure soul all the time, that would be wonderful, but we're human.
We're human, right. And the whole idea about men don't cry, I think that's just the biggest BS.
Oh, it is.
Because they might not cry on the surface, but they cry inside, which is worse. It's just let it out.
It causes heart attacks and diseases,
Yeah.
Well, women do that too. Mm-hmm. It isn't just a man thing. Yeah. Like my sister-in-law now has 2 kinds of cancers, and it's because she stuffs things in.
Wow.
I know over the years, I've watched her stuff things in. She doesn't let things out. Now my brother's the opposite. He always
just
lets
everything out. That's
and he may not cry in front of anybody, but my father used to cry. Yeah. I not very often, but I would witness him crying, and I thought that is a real man.
Yeah.
To allow himself
to let it out.
To let it, that you're human.
True. Absolutely.
Yeah. Because then you leave more room for being happy.
Hey, again, you cannot truly appreciate happiness if you have not experienced the other side of it. Yeah. Honestly, if everything is just going nice and well, after some time, your happiness just kind of just taper off. But what makes it go like that is when you experience life.
That's right. And we all experience it. On some level or other, we all experience it. Mm-hmm. It's just on how you allow yourself
to do it.
One
of the things that I share is whenever something happens to us as human beings, we have depression. It's just like a situation change. Mm-hmm. Somebody lost a job. That's a situation that changed. Some of them are more drastic. Right. If you're driving on the freeway and you get a ticket, that's a situation that changed. So those are kind of things that I consider will create a situational depression. Usually a short period, you deal with it, and you can move on. But when you draw it out, whether it's because you could not manage it or whatever the reason is, that's when you've given your brain time to rewire itself. Now you're moving from what's supposed to be a situational depression now to a clinical depression because the brain is totally rewired itself. And when I started studying how the brain works, I started it with relation to happiness, and I started seeing how powerful it really is. It's trying every time to make our work easier. Sometimes it's not helping us, but it's making it easier. And I'm like, whoa, that's when I started to practice decreasing the time because I don't want to give the brain enough time to rewire itself to a new situation.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is that if you stay in depression too long, your
brain thinks that is the new norm.
Your chemistry gets used to it.
Yes.
And I don't want to get
No,
used
no,
to that.
no, I don't, and nobody should.
Yeah.
So that's why you want to, again, I was invited to a grief session, and again, I say I'm not a counselor, I'm just a happy guy. But the director of this facility invited me anyway because he said that, Edwin, you have a different angle to this stuff, and we want to experience that. Well, at the end, a month later, they invited me back because about 70% of the people that came to the session did not come back in 30 days. At first, the director was really nervous, thinking they didn't like what had happened. So they started calling them one by one. And he said, oh, no, that man, he was so helpful, we didn't need to come anymore. Ooh. We are already happy.
Oh, wow.
And so it was really powerful for me to experience that because you can shorten that grief period. Yeah. And the teaching is the opposite. It's like, oh, take your time and stuff. I'm like, it's all right, we are human, but don't take too long.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to stop it so you can start to live your life. Look at some of the most powerful things that exist today. It was somebody who went through a very traumatized experience and find a way to shift it into something positive. Whether it's Mother Grace drunk driving, whether it's this siren now we hear about on the police notice they give us when somebody is stolen, when you have this missing child. There is the little kid that the father helped to pioneer that concept, so that when
kidnapped.
So when you look at a lot of the things that we experience today, is a family that experienced something like that and decide, you know what, I don't want to stay down for the rest of my life. I want to convert this energy into something that could help somebody else, and that's what I mean by shifting.
Yeah, again, helping others.
Yeah, it really is. That's the common denominator. Yeah.
Gratitude.
Yeah. And one of the lines you can draw with a lot of this happy stuff is it really don't cost money. It
it's
really
an
does.
investment in time.
In time
and yourself.
and yourself. Yeah. It really is. If you're taking the time to write down your gratitude, okay, maybe the pen does cost something, but hey, and other than that, or just laughing, it doesn't cost anything. A lot of the things that truly make us happy doesn't cost too much.
Well, our society has, and I had a conversation today about how our society and the media and the outside world focuses in on money so much and materialism. And, it can give you gratitude, or it can give you that rush of feeling good, but it's short term.
Yeah.
And it's important to get that internally. That's why it's so important, I think, to have a spiritual base inside of yourself, so then you can tap into that, just like you meditate every day.
Yeah.
I meditate, and the first thing I do is give gratitude.
Absolutely.
That's the very first thing I do.
Yeah.
I get up, go to the bathroom, come back, and I give my gratitude, and then pray for others. But again, it's others, giving to others.
Because it really reduces a lot of the burden on you.
It reduces what?
The burden. If you focus on just you all the time, it just becomes a lot of work.
It causes diseases.
And stress. People get stroke and all this kind of stuff.
It's tunnel vision, and it's important to be able to share with others.
Yeah.
That's why I do my show.
And you do a wonderful job.
Well,
thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So, is there any more wisdom that you can share other than what you have already shared?
Well, I think, people say, how can you get this practice going? I talk about just baby steps. One of the things that I always recommend is make a promise to yourself that you're going to be happy for 24 hours. Anybody can do that. 24 hours is not that long. So when you wake up in the morning, then start and just say, hey, you know what? Today, I'm going to be happy for 24 hours. Not 1 week, not 1 month, not 1 year, just 24 hours. because 24 hours is so small, most people can reach that goal. And I said, if something happened halfway through, you didn't make it, don't worry about it. Set it from that point, 24 hours. And so that you want to really, here is what happened with that. When you set a goal that you're going to be happy for 24 hours, you start to anticipate good stuff. You start to anticipate the best thing in people. You start to expect the best thing in you. And all of a sudden, it's like you send a message to the universe that, hey, I don't want any crap today, I just want to be happy. And sometimes the universe is in cooperation with you.
Yeah, I know.
And with practice, it just gets easier.
Yeah. May I interject
Please,
one thing?
yeah.
I'm just thinking of some of the people that I have known that have been like perpetually depressed. I'm thinking, make a commitment for 1 hour to be happy, and then spread it to 6 hours. And I mean, these are more extreme cases because 24 hours may seem a lot to them.
Yeah.
Even
in that case, don't even go an hour. If you're really, really clinically depressed, have somebody you're working with. Yeah. I was talking with a gentleman, and he was one of those people that actually jumped out of the bridge, the Golden Gate Bridge.
He survived.
He did, yeah. He had broken spine, all kind of stuff. And now he's really thankful, and he's happy guy. And I was asking him, I said, how did you go from that? Because he said there was something in his head that was telling him he didn't deserve to live, and he should just end it. And after some time, he listened to it, and it was on his way going that he realized, whoa, what have I done? And so he was praying to live, and he did. Even in
after he jumped?
After he jumped, yeah.
But he survived.
He survived, yeah. On his way down is when he changed his mind.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and he jumped head down also.
Don't survive
oh no, he's one of the few people that have survived.
But that's powerful.
Yeah.
If he decided on the way
down. Yeah, and he was going head first also.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so he changed his mind, and that's the power in decision.
Oh wow.
Okay, and so, but at that time where he was in that situation, absolutely, 24 hours will not even be conceivable. Yeah. That's when you ask for help. You ask for help, and do baby step. Whether it's 15 minutes, whether it's 30 minutes, whether it's 1 hour, and do it in sport until. And one of the things he shared with me, which I never really even conceived was possible, but I got it when he shared it, is that he was always scared to be happy.
He was scared to be happy.
Yes, and he had spoil of happiness, but he always pay for it later because he get even more depressed. I'm like, whoa. So that started to give me a sense of different approach. So that way, yes, you're absolutely right. Don't go 24 hours. Do 1 hour.
Yeah, I mean, I've just, because I've known people that are clinically depressed and they take drugs for it, and anyway, my question is, I wonder if the man that jumped off the bridge, if he got God, if he was talking to God when he jumped.
He didn't share that part with me.
Yeah, okay, because sometimes I know that's very personal to people and they don't want to share. But I'm real curious.
Yeah.
Anyway.
If I get another opportunity, I'll probably ask.
Yeah, I mean, we all need help, and boy, he sure did need it on the way down.
Yes, he did.
Because most people don't survive.
No, it was one of the
So
few.
it was a gift that he survived, because he can also share his story with
and that's
other
what
people.
he's doing.
Yeah.
And he's doing a very good job at it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is he in the city?
He's right now in North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so is there any other wonderful things?
Yeah, I just say that as human beings, we need to really share ourselves, be friends. People, one of the 10 ways to be happy, I talk about, you have to make time for the 3 Fs. So they are your faith, your family, and your friends. And when you get to be too busy for those 3 things, then something is out of alignment. Yeah. And I was talking to a guy, and he said, well, I just want to do a really good job for my people. I just want to really help them. I just want to and it's just going on and on. So that's why he doesn't have time for anything else. So I said, what do you think will happen to your people if all of a sudden you just got a heart attack? And he goes, well, I never really think about that. I say, well, do you want to think about that just because of your people? Because the rate you're going, something's going to happen. So make time. That's very, very crucial. If you make time for your friends, it doesn't matter. Even some people say, oh, they are introvert. Even if you're introvert, you can still make time for the basic things, okay? And then the last thing that I want to really leave folks with is have goals. And it's not goals because you want to conquer the world or be this or be that. Because what I find out is when you have goals, when you have dreams, it gives you hope. Yeah. I've never seen anybody that have goals that's depressed. Never. Yeah. It's just as I've never seen anybody that's happy that decide, you know what, I just wake up this morning, I'm so happy, I want to take my life, It doesn't, it's mutually exclusive. Or you see somebody say, oh, I'm so happy today, I'm looking for somebody else to take their life. Those kind of things are just mutually exclusive. So have goals. And because that brings hope, that gives you something to work towards, and in the process, a lot of things that may be big deal are no longer big deal. So that's one of the 10 ways.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Edwin.
Thank you.
Our time is almost up.
All right.
So if there's anything else that you want to say, please say it now because our time's wrapping up.
Okay. Well, for those people that will want to really follow what I do, if they go to happyneighborhoodproject.com, they'll be able to see what I do and the information. I have 2 organizations. I Am Happy Project, which is a platform just to attract people to focus on their own happiness, because whatever we focus on is going to grow.
That's right.
And so I encourage people to do that. And if they go to YouTube and just type in Ask the CHO, that's ASKTHECHO, and they can subscribe to my YouTube channel. Every Monday, I do the Happy Monday. And the reason I started that is when I started to read about just the difficulty people have on Monday morning.
Monday morning is when they have the most heart attacks.
The most heart attack, the most suicide rate, the most high blood pressure, just a whole lot of stuff. So I started this Happy Monday to kind of help people set a foundation for the week so they can follow that on YouTube. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And I want to thank you for what you do.
Oh, well, absolutely. I just do it, I mean, it's not enough on some level, but I just keep doing it.
Absolutely.
Just keep doing it.
Thank you.
But thank you. I'll leave you with this. And as a reminder for all of us, never give up, even when things look impossible, especially with the events that are happening and unfolding globally. Be grateful for today, what you have. Good nutrition feeds your mind and your body temple. Feed your spirituality with meditation and prayer. Love yourself unconditionally. Stop criticizing, stop judging, forgive yourself and others. Stop allowing others to dominate the way you feel and think about yourself. Be compassionate with yourself first. Share your abundance and wealth with others in whatever form that may be. When fear knocks, let faith answer the door. We need love, unconditional love, more than ever now for what is unfolding in the government, in our government and society. Thank you, Marin TV, for facilitating our show, and especially to my crew, Brad, Ginger, and Nancy. Thank you, thank you. If you like our show, please let us know at #MarinTV or on our Facebook page. Please support and become a member of Marin TV. Bye for now until the next time.